Welcome back, Little Heroes. We return to our characters in the middle of the Doom Ridge. They are talking with the giant Aurega, the Bronze Titan, former king of Valtamir, the giant city in the Sky Range. He has thrown a massive mushroom onto a bonfire, and they are nearing evening. He says that the shades come out at night in the Doom Ridge. So, you all gain a short rest. So go ahead and do whatever you would like to with your hit dice and ability regain. And,
Short rest, you said?
short rest, yes.
Does the dagger recharge or only a long rest?
It does, yes.
Not a short rest at all.
Correct. So, do you ask any particular questions? Or do you hear out the tale of how Aurega came to be the usurped king of Valtamir?
Not every day you get to hear stories from a giant, so I'm not going to interrupt him.
I agreed. I feel like I need this information. It's important.
Yeah, you should have known about all this already.
I know.
You're losing your touch.
Mm-hmm.
Journeying with you losers this whole time. What do you expect?
He's going to describe some vague social tendencies of the giants, how they live in their society. That they had a great feast all together when one particularly disgraceful giant who had not been invited to that feast. That is when the stone fell, and the giant, being not at the feast, was the one who discovered it. And used its power to basically tempt all of his warriors and his citizens with ideas of some long-forgotten giant empire that would rule over Mythia. And him and his two sons attacked Aurega while he was sleeping and actually threw him off the mountainside. The only thing that he had on him when he landed was his lightning bolt. And he called bronze to form all of his clothes and stuff out of like leather drapes and things from the fortresses that he's passed. He says that there was a lot of fortresses that are still intact and could potentially have goods in them, but he couldn't get inside of the doors, and he didn't want to break them all down, or else they might fall on top of him, since they were made for small folk. But he does comment that it doesn't seem as dangerous as he had heard it was, from giants that had descended down. He was born the eventual monarch of Valtamir, and as such was required to not stray far from the city itself. So he's been all through the Sky Range itself and seen down into the world below the clouds. But he's never been there. But there are giants that do come down, and other giant tribes that live in different places, like Hugh, otherwise known as the Giant Steppes Islands. There's a village of what are considered wild, uncivilized giants that live there. Jungle giants.
There's also a lot of dinosaurs.
And they have dinosaur pets. That's correct.
We should go there. Sounds fun.
Been there, done that. Awful.
So, the giant asks about your quest. He said you're here to save the world. Who sent you on that quest?
She's like, I don't really want to say that I did it, but... She goes, there was a vision.
A vision.
Yes. What had happened?
I've become slightly distrustful of visions lately.
This was a real one. Granted by fate itself. Right. When it broke.
You all were selected by fate?
Yes.
Quite an honor. And quite a diverse crew.
Yes. I dare say. By the way, Hero was introduced, right? Like, we introduced Hero.
I wouldn't be surprised if the giant just never notices that Hero's here.
That's fair.
You made introductions when he set the bonfire down.
I thought so, but I just wanted to make sure that Hero was introduced as well.
Relevant things. Johnny, put out both her hands and, grabbed his finger and, shook it. Hero sort of gave a meek, hi.
Hi.
Zarafen spoke to him in Giant, which he was impressed, and sort of gave and Dom tried Giant and accidentally said something bad that the
June
Giant laughed at.
it as well. Come on.
Bali sort of liked the idea of fair folk and kept whispering that they were definitely the fair folk to Euphemia. Right. And Shadow has sort of lifted her head up from over there. Walks has returned, and he stomped on the ground and said, "I walks no roads," and then plopped back down like he was nesting.
Is there a road near here?
No.
Okay, just checking.
There doesn't seem to be a path necessarily in the Doom Reds that you've seen so far. It's pretty wild
Okay,
lands.
good. My brain was going backwards. I was having opposite day in my head. Ignore me.
He goes, "The bird talks."
Yes, he does.
He says, "Not bird, walks no roads."
What? Brain forgot name of race.
He's a.
All I
he's
got is
a-
Cleveland. That's
He's
not
a
the answer.
Kipa.
Keepa, thank you. She will say that.
He says, "Oh,
No, she says it to the giant. But,
yeah, but Clevey can hear you."
Yeah, I know. She
Sorry,
tell-
Clevey.
Yeah.
Walks no roads can hear you.
Yes.
Yeah,
She
he's
goes,
like, "What?
that's what you are.
I thought I walks no roads."
Your name is Walks No Roads. Your race is a
Kipa.
Kipa. Kipa.
Kikpa.
Okay.
Sounds like a
I know, I was thinking it too. That's why I had to ask.
He says, "Mi Kikpa?" with his wing.
Yes.
Goes,
Just like she's a halfling and he's a half-elf. And he's a giant.
"There more Kikpa?"
Yes.
He goes, he seems to ponder upon that.
Did I break him?
Yes.
Yeah.
I broke my baby.
And Prongor is going to stand up and introduce Isaac.
Oh, please. I would like to hear this introduction.
He says, "This, Sir Giant, is the most magnificent, incredible noble of Zelox that has ever been born in all of space and time.
Space and time. He upgraded.
Isaac Crowley." And he's got his fingers kind of go like,
June looks like she's actually looking forward to every time he introduces you now. It's starting to become a thing where she's just like, she sits back, and you can almost imagine her eating watermelon while she's watching it.
So one thing about Isaac right now, he's almost always covered in a cloak, and so it's just kind of like this cloaked figure with a staff. But right now he put his cloak on Feor, and so he's just in plain clothes, which you guys have not seen very often. So it almost looks like there's two Isaacs with Feor and then Isaac there. Isaac's gonna go "Thank you, Prongor. Now how about you introduce yourself?"
he says, "Oh, I'm Prongor." And Clover, at some point during this, is going to sort of clop back into view, and then sort of move quickly, unnaturally quickly, up towards the group and kneel down as only a mule can do.
June just absently puts her arm up and starts stroking his head, or scratching his ear.
He's gonna shake his ears, floppy, hairy ears in your direction.
Excellent.
Um,
They're like velvet.
So you tell him that it was a vision. You tell him that it's a very important quest. He's going to ask what your quest is.
Okay.
I like how I looked at you guys and everybody looked at Sarah.
June will say all the kingdoms on Ignos. Oh yes, sorry. Come on.
All of the kingdoms have rallied together. Well, all but 2 have rallied together so far behind us in support to find Yinjasi's crown and to stop fate from deteriorating. If we do not find the answer within a certain amount of time, fate will break completely.
All 8 kingdoms, eh?
Well, she says with the subtraction of 2. Technically 3 if you include Farm Watch.
Which nobody does.
He says, so 5 kingdoms.
Yes.
I see. Well, that's the majority. His stomach will sort of rumble mightily. Like he's ready to
She's
earthquake.
going to pull out travel rations that she has, and she says, because they don't cut into the group's travel rations, they were her personal ones. She was like, I don't know how much this will cover for you, but here.
Well, I appreciate the gesture. I don't want to deprive you all of your food on this perilous journey. You seem to be headed into a place where there's very little of it.
These won't impede.
You sure?
Yes.
Well, then you will certainly hold me till I am able to find my own food.
Is there nothing to hunt around here? She asks.
Most of the creatures in this valley are poisonous. Or they're undead, which I don't have the stomach for, I'm afraid.
What if you ate one of the beetles?
My kind do not like the beetle creatures. Consider them beasts of ill omen.
Okay.
Eating one would be worse than death.
And if someone could remove the poison from one of these creatures, you could eat it?
I suppose so, he says. How would you do that?
She just, gestures strangely with her hand, with
She
no
has that
explanation.
ability.
He's gonna hide.
No, I can probably pull it out. Probably.
I don't understand. You would grab it with your hand?
I would.
It's her fate. Stop being all mysterious.
Her fate is to grab poison with her hands?
I can take intangible items out of living creatures.
Perhaps you could take away your hunger.
Yes, but it wouldn't change the fact that his body would slowly deteriorate.
No.
And unforeseen consequences can happen when you take things out of people.
That is a fearsome fate, little one.
She doesn't like the little one.
But I fear that I might be a hindrance to you. Your group can be quiet, while I cannot. And if you're going into any of these castles or fortresses, I shall not be able to join you anyway.
We don't really intend to go into a castle or fortress, do we?
Well, you are
Just to-
headed towards a temple.
Well, yeah.
Would he be an asset, do you think? She says quietly.
What do I know about, what we could meet on the way there that he could definitely help with?
Dead, traps, old magic, death dogs,
Like
shadow creature, darkness creatures. Plenty of enemies along the way, but one of those enemies is the natural decay of the land rots food and sours drink.
Gotcha. So probably not the greatest asset.
Certainly in combat situations he would be very helpful, but otherwise probably not.
Perhaps in combat, yes, he would be a great asset. However, you are correct. On resources, it would be difficult to sustain.
Well, then I leave the choice to you. I was the one who made the mistake in attacking you in the first place, so I believe you have earned the right to choose my path for the moment.
Did everybody look at her again?
Yes.
I'm not.
You are napping.
I always picture in my head, though, when these happen, that all of the party turn and looks at Juniper, and it's just quiet for a minute.
Okay, well, out of game, what do people want? I'm not going to just make a decision for the whole group without talking to you guys.
It doesn't seem like he would necessarily be helpful. right now.
I'm leaning towards just sending him to a place where we can meet so that
with
he
him.
could
Mm-hmm.
Help us
maybe
when
get
we
some
need to go get that
reconnaissance in.
car.
Yeah.
Okay, she says, are you cool with that? I think perhaps it would be wise if you simply went north and we met you there. That way you can hunt ahead of time, gather your supplies, and after we've completed our business, we can meet you.
He says, the Great Cut is to the north. I was going to head through that. Once I reach the opposite side, there'll be plenty of game available, and I can barter and trade with the villages for what else I need. If I meet you in that northern area, the Great Grasslands, perhaps there we can set our watch to the east. Excuse me, to the west, where the other giants descend.
Could I hook a small spell into a piece of rock or whatever so that I could find him, kind of like a homing beacon?
If you use an arcane mark spell,
It only lasts less than an hour, I believe. Let me
so if
double
you
check.
spend the level 1 spell slot and the use of arcane mark, I'll allow it.
Okay. Then she will reach down, she looks around and she picks up for her it's a little bit heftier, but for him it'll be a pebble. She didn't want to get too small, he'd lose it. So she gets a what would be a pebble for him and will cast arcane mark on it. She ends up actually she'll get out her wand and she'll draw a symbol on it. It'll glow briefly, kind of like a shimmery blue and with gold sparkles on it, and then it'll settle and it'll just have it'll have like a little slightly shimmery iridescent effect on it, and then she hands it to him. Thank you. I don't actually have one. Ha ha ha. That's exciting. Because of that. Yes, she'll hand it to him and she says, this will allow me to find you when we
He's
go
going to
north.
reach down with his fingers and sort of pinch it out of your hand. And he looks at it. This little thing?
Yes,
So you are some sort of wizard.
I am indeed.
He says as he stuffs it in his pouch pocket.
She kind of does a kind of obvious look, but doesn't say anything.
He goes, well, enjoy the fire. I would warn you that here in the Blackened Lands, the mountain shade will be the area in which the darkness
shades?
comes. You will see a very distinct line as the sun crests below the mountains. The shadows of the mountains creep outwards, and it creates a very distinct line between night and dark.
Has it been explained to us what shades are?
He's clearly talking about creatures of darkness. With that, he is going to stand up on his legs, shaking the ground a little bit. Until we meet again, then, I'll bid you adieu.
Okay, sure. If he wants to leave that early.
Well, what were you thinking?
I figured he would just, overnight with us and then we'd continue on in the morning.
He's hungry.
Just fed him.
How much food did you give him?
I gave him a pile.
So like a couple handfuls of food for him.
Yeah, it would be enough for a meal. It's like lambus bread, if it weren't trademarked.
Okay. Then he will stay the
Limbus?
night then.
Limbus bread.
My apologies. You nerd.
All right. Please, each of you roll a d20.
I'm afraid of this effect. I want something to happen. Oh. That's the most boring roll I could possibly roll.
12.
A 10.
I want to tell as well.
Roll that as well. As you all sit around the bonfire, gaining what little information you can from the giant that is relevant to your journey.
One quick question, my apologies. During all this time, do I still feel that connection?
Yes.
Has it moved or is it still in the same spot?
Same spot.
Okay. You will occasionally just see June just turn around and look in that direction and read the group.
You guys are free to chat.
June, what in the pits is in that direction? You're driving me crazy. Everyone else is motionless except for you.
You should have it too far.
I felt something familiar. It's about 10 miles south of here. Thought he was going to hit you in the head with that. Why don't you just aim the mic at him?
What does familiar mean for you?
It feels like wish.
That rocked. No, it's fine.
Bonk.
Do you mean a godmother like you?
No, it doesn't feel like a godmother. It feels...
What is wish? You just used wish as if it's a proper name for something.
Rega's still with us and as our...
Mm-hmm. Although,
I'm whispering.
you guys can be away from like the main area.
Okay. Okay, yeah, then if she's just talking to him personally, did you join us in this small conversation?
I thought we were all sitting close to each other and noticing each other.
Okay, she wouldn't talk about like a lot of sensitive things in front of randos. No offense to the randos, but yeah, she will whisper to you and she goes, in a way it is a proper noun. It's wish is wish. It's the power I use.
And you feel something similar to your power south of here.
Yes.
Something that's not you.
Correct. She has a look of longing on her face as she says it.
You don't seem scared about this. I suppose we shouldn't be either.
I'm confused, and...
There are others like you, aren't there? Wouldn't it just be one of them?
She looks at you, and you see a deep sorrow on her face. She goes, I haven't seen the others like me in longer than you would understand.
I see. It seems like this might be something that's worth your time, then.
As much as I would like to go and check it out myself, it is a personal mission. It's a personal issue. And I can't compromise our current journey. Lox's life is in the line of this, and then the fate of this world is. I can't put my personal wishes in that.
Is that the order in which you're holding these things?
For the moment.
I see. It's not that far out of the way. Do you not think you and Zarfan could just go look, and the rest of us would be okay while you're gone?
And if something happened while I was gone, to either me or you all?
Look at what we just went through.
And if we were not all together, it would not have worked.
I guess so.
As much as I would love to find out that information, I can't be that selfish.
Well, if you have a change of heart and you decide to just take off, I wouldn't blame you. This sounds like a once-in-a-lifetime thing, and I know for you a lifetime is a little bit different than the rest of us.
I'm not so sure for you. She is avidly looking at you right now.
Isaac is silent for a moment, and then he says, I'm still reckoning with that fact. It's been something I'm trying to not think about.
My apologies. I won't bring it up then.
Well,
But
you're
if you
probably
wish,
the only other person I could relate to regarding that.
if you wish to talk about it, I am here.
I appreciate that.
Thank you for your understanding, by the way. I, too, appreciate that. She smiles and pats your arm. You see her turn and look to the south again and sigh.
Isaac will also look to the south, and he's just going to see if he can sense anything.
No.
Nothing? Okay.
The Sinstone's abilities have quieted, but it does have a small trickle of warning that there are undead.
That's probably never gone away since we came into the Dune Ridge, right?
Doomridge.
Doom.
Yes.
June actually will turn to you and say, have you considered putting fail-safes into your puppets?
I will
What?
say that you are not unsure that you couldn't have, commanded him to break down. It's like
maybe
a test of wills against the ghost.
Yeah, I thought about that. I'm not so unsure I couldn't have willed it to start falling apart as it started attacking me. But it didn't occur to me at the time to try that.
Perhaps next time that will be your first thought.
Isaac will kind of look up at Phalor, and Phalor will just collapse. And Isaac's going to start kind of ruminating and looking at the pile of bones and maybe some sort of leather strap, and just any one of you could pull on it and he'd fall to pieces. I don't know. I'll have to start thinking about it.
I was thinking perhaps we could build in some sort of command word. For you, of course.
My only fear is him getting possessed by something like that. And what kind of failsafe would protect against a spirit taking over his physical form?
Disrupt the physical form.
I guess so.
It can't work if the body doesn't. And I'm not speaking of just Phalor.
Right. I'll start thinking of something. It's not worth it if it starts endangering the rest of you.
She smiles. I think he's worthwhile. He's incredibly useful. I just think perhaps the ability to stop him when, if that ever happens again, would be wise.
I agree.
Well, if you ever wish to look into that together, I will be happy to join you on it. Wraith would also be quite good at that.
Isaac's going to pull out a toolkit, and he's going to pick up some of the bones from Phalor and just start tinkering around with them. That's how he passes the night.
Inspiration. And you already have one, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yes, give me those shiny happy wish points.
Oh, because
They're connected to my inspiration needs,
Okay.
which is why even if I don't,
Yeah, Roland's gonna wake up and give a big stretch and a big yawn, and he's gonna walk over to Rafe. Hey, can I grab you and talk to Juniper real quick?
Can you get this closer to you? If you're going to whisper like that.
I have a
Gotcha.
feeling I need this again.
So I'm gonna block my face completely.
Sure.
And he's gonna kind of gesture, keep this low key right now that we're gonna come over and talk.
You said you needed to talk with him and Juniper?
Yeah, he just wants to run.
Rafe is going to kind of discreetly gesture towards Juniper to come on over here.
She will get up from where you are. It looks like she's stretching and walks over to where Rafe is.
So, I ended up getting pulled into the Shadow Realm during that fight. And
Shadow?
no, I think it might have been what you had to deal with.
You saw Zarkon when you were back in Bridgewater.
I did? Oh, yeah, that's right, I was down there. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was the thing back in Bridgewalk that you dealt with.
Zarkon?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know why he was here and why he
Are
singled
you
me out.
okay?
Yeah,
She immediately starts checking you over.
yeah.
She doesn't touch you or anything, but she's like,
Yes and no. So Dalnor's gone. And the other one's back.
I noticed something was very wrong, yes.
And he's worse than he's ever been. It's like he's making up for... I couldn't, and the giant could not pull him from
what he was doing to him earlier.
What do you mean? I admit I wasn't able to witness your battle with the giant.
I could see that he was calling for the fight to end and trying to submit.
The other?
No, the giant. I could hear him. I could feel it. I could feel that he wanted the fight to end and the other wanted him dead so bad.
The giant was trying to surrender and Dalnor continued the assault.
Not Dalnor, the other. The old...
Yes, the other. Sorry.
And you can't find Dalnor at all?
I don't think so. It was weird. So usually when when he's in control, I can still feel the pain. I can still feel all the physicalness of it. And then sometimes I get like sometimes I'm like disconnected from the whole situation too, and I just I'm looking through the window of my eyes, and
A true bound.
and that happened today, and it hasn't happened in a while. Even when we had our understanding before, it still felt like he let me keep a little bit of the reins, and there was no control.
You said it's happened before, though?
Yeah.
When?
When I was really before anytime the other thought I was going to get in the way.
Perhaps the other feels threatened by Dalnor's presence.
I don't know. But there was I'm trying to be more upfront about all this weird stuff that I feel like we don't tell each other. There was a doorway in the area, and I thought maybe if I went through the door, I could maybe wrestle some sort of control back and get him to stop with the giant. And when I opened the door, it took me back to when I was a kid and I had gotten in a fight, and essentially we kind of had a conversation in my childhood bedroom, and I was looking at little me, and then there was another me sitting on the bed with him. And I remember this, I still wanted to be at home. I still wanted to have my life and be normal as long as I could. And the other was trying to get me to leave and just go out and fight and just adventure and do everything. And I just wanted to be a kid for a little longer.
Do you remember if that actually happened?
I think so. I kind of remember, but it was all a conversation in my head. But I watched it, and it was like seeing me talk to me. It's very weird.
So you saw a physical manifestation of the other.
Yeah, and then you just got up and walked through a wall. I wondered in some way if I was seeing maybe into the other's mind, or if I was seeing deeper into my mind, because it didn't seem like either memory had any idea that I was standing there watching it.
So you couldn't interact?
I couldn't interact, no. And they didn't seem to be aware that I was there.
It is possible that vision was either a combination of your and the other's memory, or it was simply the other's version of that story. That
maybe
side of the events that happened.
I mean, it definitely, the way it acted towards me today, it feels like I've betrayed it, I think.
Although, you've never seen a door like this before.
No. Anytime I've been in the sunken place, I've just been watching it.
What does it normally look like?
Just it's almost like my eyes, it's almost like looking through a window, but I'm physically there. It's not that, at times, especially with Dalnor being in control of me, I'm still seeing my vision. But when the other really takes all that control, it's only ever when I'm in dire danger. But at that point, it's almost like I'm distended from the situation. I'm in a room looking through windows at what's going on. I'm not actually seeing my hands or anything. I'm seeing I could walk up and look out an eye.
Can you communicate with the other just like now? I'm not asking you to.
We used to be able to sometimes, and right around before when Downor showed up, he just went quiet.
Perhaps this is part of the nature of the change that has happened to your fate. Perhaps you are gaining a glimpse into the mind of the other for the first time ever. This doorway might represent that.
I'm also curious if maybe it's just being here is making things act different too, because Downor was just that he was like becoming a person.
Yes.
Back in Bridgewalk.
His entire personality, yes.
When did the other emerge again? I thought that Downwell was here.
No, back in Bridgewalk with the fight with the dragons, he showed up then. But I thought it might have been triggered because of dragons and the fact that the other might have just pushed his way past Downor. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
So you thought it could have potentially been
Situational.
I understand.
Because in previous situations, when I'm in really real danger, that's when the other has always got me out of it. And I mean, but when I fought that dragon over the ocean, I was only in Downor. So I don't know.
Roland, how much do you know about the other himself? Itself.
I mean, he's cold, he's calculated, he's very, very violent. Definitely thinks that I'm weak. Definitely thinks that I'm not doing the right things for our fate. It seems to hold me in pretty high disdain.
Zarfan is going to look over at Jennifer, sort of like seeking to talk his way through this. He's going to turn back towards Roland. He says, since you were not able to interact with this scene, but you were still able to witness something that you didn't have knowledge of beforehand, that the other was manifest there and potentially moves away from you. That may be something worth exploring. You might gain insight into the other that you did not possess before.
Yeah,
I agree.
That is curious.
Was there potentially another door you might have passed through?
As soon as I went out the door to see if I could maybe return and see something different, and the second it closed behind me, it disappeared.
Because you've spoken of these silences that the other goes into. The other is clearly somewhere. It exists beyond you. Perhaps it goes deeper in your mind, perhaps it leaves your body entirely. And who knows what it is doing when it is quiet.
Yeah, that would almost make sense because of the way it walked away from me in that vision. Or in that memory.
Was there another door in the room? Other than the one you came through originally?
I only had one door. I mean, it was a closet, but he walked straight through the wall.
My advice would be, if that occurs again, I would attempt to explore my surroundings unless threat becomes apparent.
I agree.
I'll let you guys know. I wanted you to know what happened to me today, because I don't think anybody else realized it, and I don't want to worry anybody else, really.
I think it would be a very good idea if we are careful when your fate activates.
I'll
Currently.
keep you all posted on how things are going. And I'm sorry about today.
He says, you did cause us a great deal of worry.
I know. I thought I was
Although,
hoping.
I'm glad the situation has turned out okay.
I don't know how to apologize to the giant like I should.
Just talk to him. I'm fairly certain he's a pretty open-minded individual.
Thank you, guys.
She will pat your hand.
Euphemia, Dom says.
Dom.
I was hoping that I might speak to you in private. I've been worried in Bridgewalk that there were some ears that might hear our conversation. And in the canyon, we were also clustered close together, and I hadn't really had a chance to speak to you in a wide open space without the chance of others hearing.
Euphemia would have been sort of glancing at Jania as if she wanted to speak with her. She'll pause and look at Dom and say, "Of course, just us two."
Please. He's going to use his harpoon as a walking stick and head out a little ways away from the group. He's going to kind of like give a little wave of acknowledgement to Bali, who's watching the two of you like a hawk.
Why do I get the feeling I'm not going to like what you say?
I honestly don't know how you're going to feel about what I say, but you did ask for me to say it back in Bridgewalk.
All right.
He's going to come over. I have been meaning to tell you, honestly, to tell the entire crew, what I did back in Bridgewalk that I was not with Hero when he was captured by the pirates. There is a man, a man of ill repute in Bridgewalk, known as the Clockmaker. He is a underworld contact.
You have many of those. What's special about this one?
This one is what is called a branch man. He is a legitimate business, has clean money. Very little about him would lead him into the suspect of authorities. But he is a member of Satan's Hand.
Euphemia's entire body tenses.
I went to him because I suspected that Satan's Hand was working with Pitt in Bridgewalk. And I wanted your compass so that I could avoid going to this man. So that I could use its power to find if there was any members of Satan's Hand in Bridgewalk. Because I was worried that they were working with Pitt. But it turns out, it seems, that he was a solo player, not working at all with Satan's Hand.
How did you know that this man is part of Satan's Hand? That's quite the information to have.
Because I was recruited into Satan's Hand by him in my youth. It was about
Sorry.
80 years ago that I was a ferryman for Satan's Hand, not privy to their in-depth secrets, but I did transport their more important members, several of their ascendant, around the world by boat. I got them into places that they couldn't get otherwise. And so I know many of their customs and several of their members. Although less of them are alive than you might think.
Suppose we should count that as something good.
I was a stupid man in my youth. A foolish, rash man. I had just left Pendulum for the first time. And for 3 years, I was chasing my brother's shadow. I wanted to be like Ronan. To capture the minds and hearts of men.
No one does that better than him.
Well, I was never any good at it. But I, instead, got my own heart and mind captured. I was sold a bill of lies by Satan's hand. The idea that I was worthy of some great design. I was enthralled by it.
And what changed? Did it change?
It changed. I murdered dozens of men, warriors, people who were armed. But one day I was ordered to kill an unarmed family. A woman and her children. Damleth was there. He took away my weapon and told me to finish it. I did. After that, it wasn't the same. I felt that I had sullied my soul. So I fled. I sought the only power that could keep me away from Satan's hand. My brother.
But now you are far away from him.
Far away from the time that happened as well.
Does Satan's hand truly ever forget any kind of slight?
No. That's why I felt the crew needed to know. When we were just hunting the pirate lords, there was no Satan's hand to worry about necessarily. Now, we apparently are running into them on a regular basis. And my presence could put the crew in additional danger. I had hoped that my knowledge of their secrets might provide some advantage. I was hoping I could use it, honestly, so that you all would see the benefits of keeping me around.
She twinges a little at that, as if she's surprised he would think he wasn't useful. And did you meet this clockmaker?
Yes, I did. We had a bit of a scuffle. He had an artifact, a rather dangerous one. It was a trident. He kept it in his clock. When he invited me in, I don't think he suspected that I would see it, but I knew where to look. Before he took that post, I knew the man that ran that shop. And I remember him hiding things in that clock. The artifact was cursed and extremely deadly. So I poisoned his tea. We fought, and the poison slowed him down enough for me to take him out.
So he's dead?
But before he died, he informed me that Satan's hand had pulled out of Bridgewalk entirely upon Pitt's arrival. That they were opposed to one another. They believed that Pitt was a threat to their rule. His anarchic tendencies wouldn't allow an empiric ruler like Damleth to take over Mythia.
I think this is likely true. This is information we should have had sooner, Dom. Why?
Part of it. I was going to tell you at the party. But then the information of the whale put me off my stomach and my capability to do so. And then the dragons came. And then the journey, and we were all together the whole time. I should have told you much sooner, but I had hoped to keep it a secret until we arrived at Bridgewalk, and it became pertinent. After the second encounter with Damleth, I knew that it wouldn't be something that we could just avoid. I had thought that it was in the past. But that past is going to haunt me, I'm afraid.
It's good at that, she says.
So, as captain, I believe you have the right to tell whoever you think needs to know. And I would suggest that since there aren't any ears around for miles, while you're doing that, we may want to reveal exactly what we're doing.
It's a good time. Are you afraid of what they'll think of you?
Yes. But I've been given a shot of courage from another in the group who's trying to redeem a dark past.
Wondering who that is.
Roland. No, I was going to say it.
Thanks, you owe me a coffee.
Do they have coffee? They do have coffee.
Do you want coffee?
No, I meant, and never mind.
In Mythia?
Yes.
There's
Yes.
coffee. We've had it.
Yes, I realized it after the fact. At brunch. Mythia brunch.
Mythia brunch.
She'll look at Dom a beat. I haven't told anyone. When I left Aragoth, the chaos I left behind, they massacred people as a result of my actions. Innocent, unarmed people. It's going to haunt me too. And it should. I can't stop thinking about it.
I'm so sorry, Captain.
It's my fault. But I have to find a way to make that pain my ally. To use it as a weapon against people who do wrong. To carry the pain I caused forward. To do what's right. To protect the people who couldn't protect themselves. And to bring those that inflict that pain to justice. However we think of that justice, we're not so different.
Your words inspire, Captain.
Mostly I tend to vomit them out, so I'm glad they help someone.
Strange then the contents of your stomach are so pleasant, he says. Inspiration. Do you have one?
I do not. We need to tell those involved in the prophecy.
Aye. All of a sudden, you're going to see Dom begin to visibly age in front of you.
Shit.
She's going to reach out and grab him.
Roll a d6 and multiply it by 10.
Oh, great. Okay. 30.
Dom is going to age 30 years. You're going to see long, scraggly, increasingly gray hair and beard. It's going to grow out from him. It's rather horrifying. Long nails creep out from his fingers. And he's going to sort of gasp and then fall back, like scraping his feet against the ground as if some monster is chasing him. And he seems to leave. As you reach out for him, you're going to suddenly see your own hand begin to age as well. and you pull it back, and as you do, your hand immediately reverts.
Does he
Has
start?
Dom
getting it
started
now?
reverting?
No.
Can she reach for him again?
As you do a second time, your hands and arms begin to age. Roll a Constitution saving throw.
Are you making any sound so that those of us who are
She-
basically immortal can go save him?
Would prefer to scream Juniper. Literally just, Juniper!
Okay. Roll a DC 10 Constitution saving throw, please.
Okay. Be a 1 or above 10, be a 1 or above 10. Okay.
I'm the only person who wants it to be a
Do
1.
you continue once you see your hands and limbs begin to age again?
Yeah, she would.
You push into it?
She needs to get him out. Unless they're coming fast.
Well, I assume I was in the middle of a conversation with him. This is the end of the conversation. Juniper has screeched. June will yank around,
Okay. She'll turn to look back at Juniper.
see what's going on, and run towards Dom.
I need to know, do you back out?
Yes.
Your hands and limbs revert. Juniper, you move forward. Dom, you clearly tell what has happened to Dom. He has gone into one of the shards.
I'm gonna run in and grab him and pull him out.
All right. As you pass into the shard, roll a d20.
What crazy bullshittery happens to me? 12.
12. All right. You pass unmarred, unharmed, unaffected through the through whatever's there, and you're going to. By the time you reach Dom, you think he's gotten out of it himself mostly, but Rafe is going to come over and stand maybe 15 feet. Everyone back up, he says. What is it? The giant says. It's one of the shards, he says. I think I might be able to make it visible. He's going to look over. Roland, I need some light of heaven.
Shards of what? He's gonna.
Oh god, he was unconscious.
Yeah. He's gonna light up his lance.
Okay. He is going to reach over, grab your lance, and channel the light of heaven. And as it does, you're going to see something like a slowly moving triangle. Kind of jagged. Soaring slowly through the area. Basically rolling right over Dom and a little bit past.
Is Dom
Dom
returning?
has returned.
Okay,
yes. No, he is 30 years older.
Still AF.
He is way out of it. He's going to stand up and look at himself, and he sort of has this horrified expression. He goes, "It's not going away."
Does he need to pass back through it?
I think that's a horrible idea.
Do you mean that this is permanent?
Can I roll some sort of a check of any sort to try to figure out a way to fix this?
Your initial check revealed that the fracturing of that large fate could make the shards do basically anything to do with time. It could make the change permanent.
So it's possible we could find another one that would revert time.
It is possible, but I mean they're
How you gonna
invisible
find out?
for now.
This is why she wanted to go check it out, to figure this out.
Maybe this one will wear out after.
It's possible that they do have a limit. The initial one was you pass out of the area, but these might last hours or days or weeks. Could potentially last even years.
Is there any way to influence it?
The only ways to influence fate. Euphemia.
Can you steal fate?
You both clearly have the same idea at the same time. Both
Sort of
Rafe
what
and
I was
June
thinking
sort of
too.
immediately turn on Euphemia.
Yes. Usually. Do you think...
Try your vision.
Alright. She focuses on him and uses... See the heart.
Not
I
dumb.
was actually saying, she points, no, that.
That, okay. Usually it's only something alive.
In a manner of speaking, fate could technically possibly be considered such. Try.
Nothing's
hurt to
impossible, right? Alright.
He says, fate is by definition an intangible.
She gazes.
Roll a perception check.
Bless her.
No.
Okay, never mind. It's not even worth trying to bless her on this front.
11?
Alright, doesn't seem to work.
Can she try again and use her inspiration?
I'll allow if you use your inspiration.
Dude, you turn those things around so fast.
They're so helpful. Okay, just one though, right? For
You know
reroll
what?
Or reroll.
No, I'll
Don't
allow
diss her.
a
All of us are
total.
slow as hell.
Oh, I know.
I mean, I've gone through 3 this time, but 2 or 3, but yeah. Bless her.
18.
Bad cleric.
I'm not there.
Yes, you are. Everyone's here. We made a big deal out of this.
As your eyes look, even though it is lit by the light of heaven, your eyes are going to begin to see something like a shard of glass. Something reflective is there. And as your eyes look at it, you are going to see that this particular shard, it seems, has a sticky quality that hangs on the person. But you will also see that it is slowly falling off Dawn.
I was worried.
You will see her posture as she is discovering this. You'll just see her slowly,
However, as
Start
you
relax.
look around, you are going to see what must be millions of shards filling the air above your heads, and some even moving now slowly near the group. Like a giant time tidal wave slowly breaking across the shore.
Are you just slowly draining
So,
the ball?
yeah, you'll see her relax, and then all of a sudden, her face just goes white. So, I don't want anyone to panic,
prefacing with that.
but we're surrounded by those time shards. Is there an area where we can step back to?
There are plenty of holes, large swaths you could fit 10 men abreast through, but they kind of are clustered in certain areas, and they seem to be slowly expanding towards you.
And they're coming right at us, she adds.
I have a question. This is a purely out-of-game question, but it's a question nonetheless. So, if by chance we found one that turned back time, how would that affect us? Would it, say, I don't know, a few 100,000 years or so ago, you were stronger or something? If if you stayed in there that long, would you get to that point again?
You don't know, potentially.
Do you want to find one that de-ages you really fast?
Yes, I will follow that thing. I will follow it into the sea.
Daniel, Isaac wants... Do we have the Guardian Eye still? Or did we leave it?
Yes.
Okay, Isaac's
Wait,
gonna
what? I thought we
what are
left
they
it.
going to do? Keep it?
No, didn't we leave it in the vault?
Oh, did you tell Estrid to keep it in the vault?
I think we left it in the vault.
No, they handed it back to you with the engine.
Oh,
that
it
made
wasn't.
work.
It was the crown.
Yeah,
that we
you
left
got the
in
crown
vault.
shard.
Yeah.
Do I know you have that?
Probably not.
It's
Right,
in
so
Promor's
Isaac's-
pack.
Isaac's gonna like turn around and discreetly
don't
pull
like
it
me,
out, and
so-
he's going to look through it to see if it can see the floating shards of time.
As you look through it, in fact, you can.
Okay.
You can see what looks like little there's like a little black line that connects with itself, like little broken pieces of glass floating through the air.
Isaac shoves it back into the bag.
Okay, so you're like,
Yeah.
and then you shove it back in real quick. Roll a sleight of hand check to prevent anyone from seeing it versus perceptions, passive perceptions.
Better hope Zarafan doesn't notice you.
I could
Keep
help you
side
guys.
with me.
15.
Okay, that beats everybody but Yuffie, I think's passive
Mhm.
perception.
Which I think is 18.
What passive perception is?
I can't remember.
15.
Okay, so you
I don't
will
remember.
notice.
Yep.
Zarafan no longer has true sight, so he will not notice.
I don't know if Yuffie would notice. She's kind of busy.
You can choose.
I don't think Roland would notice.
Okay.
Roland sees Isaac messing with something in his bag. It's like the most benign thing in the world.
Yeah, here, I go. Done my business.
So, we need to get away from
I'm gonna
this.
fight you.
You are
Not
able
gonna
to
like
witness these pieces, Orega asks.
I can. And they're continuing to get closer.
So what's going on?
And perhaps it might be wise if I head south.
You remember that patch of land that made us age?
Yeah.
I think it broke into like 1,000,000 tiny little splinters. And they're just kind of like floating around like pollen right now.
I would have gone with dandelion seeds, but yeah, that too.
I think June did it.
Hey!
I would have figured.
It
It's
wasn't
because it
technically
takes a
my
lot
fault.
of power.
Wasn't
That's why.
Technically, it could have happened to anyone who fixed it.
Yuffie, you
Could it?
see one of the shards is slowly descending on Rafe.
She'll look at him. You need to step back about 10 paces right now.
He's going to like look up at nothing and then like back up as it slowly like descends into the ground.
Can she see when she looks at it what each shard, like,
You need to
Does-
roll individual perception checks.
Jesus
When it descends
Christ.
into the ground, does it disappear into the ground?
It goes into the ground, yes.
Like it's not just on the ground.
No, it goes into the ground.
Oh, okay.
What effect is it having on the grass?
None. They only affected sentient creatures.
so technically if it, like, gets absorbed into the ground,
It's
could-
gone.
is it, though?
Or invisible ones beneath the ground could come up at any time.
Right!
I didn't think about that.
She's just gonna be staring
Would you
at
like
a
to
spot.
use your ability to try to figure out what that one that Zarafan had did?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't like this.
So what? Remind me what ability
This is kind of
you're
fascinating.
using?
Oh, hey,
Reroll, reroll! I can reroll it. It's fine.
What?
What ability is she using to be able to see these?
She has an ability called See the Heart.
Oh my god!
You didn't.
no more rerolls.
A 1 and
This
a
is
1.
what-
Two
The
ones
see,
in a row.
you've been fighting for those ones
That's
too
unreal.
much. Now they're just coming.
Yep, that's a no.
Well,
Yep.
okay. Actually, out of 1, you believe that the that particular shard decreases age.
She believes that,
Yes.
but does it do that, or is she just
That's
making
what
a
Euphemia
terrible
believes it does.
error?
Oh, no. See, you have to believe it happened.
I hate you. I hate you.
Oh wait, I'm done. There's no critical fails on skills, so actually, I can't pull a critical fail.
I really
No,
wanted you to say it.
what if?
So she just can't tell. what it
Yeah.
does.
Yeah, you just can't tell. Nothing comes to your eyes.
Okay, so any ideas on how we can get away from this? It's kind of descending like a wave on us.
How fast are they moving?
She'll approximate a speed based on.
Honestly, several of them have shot way ahead of you, but they are like they're rocketing really quickly.
So different
Um,
rates of acceleration?
yes.
It's all
But most of
random.
those are in the
This is
sky
great.
and are
This
like
is fun.
either going up or
So
down.
that's why we got 4 chaos points.
But there are some of them that are moving like snail speed. Like there are some that have barely left the place.
What about the ones approaching us?
Most of them are moving like slower than walking speed.
She would convey that to him.
How big are they?
They're anywhere. Most of them are like the size of like 2 people.
So they are dodgeable.
Yes.
Okay. Are we starting to see any change in Dom yet?
Oh, she would turn to him. She hasn't said anything yet. From what I could deduce, that effect should peel off of you, Dom, over time.
Your guess, if you had to guess, you'd say by the rate that it is getting off of him, probably an hour.
You should feel like your old self again in an hour or so.
How come it didn't change you that way?
It did for a moment, and
You
then I
alright?
stepped back.
It's just my heart, he says. Be fine.
Tell us if it escalates. You are in a group of people who can heal you.
He nods.
She waits a beat.
Euphemia. Zarfan's going to kind of lean in, although he's not whispering. It may become necessary if somebody has issues like this. It might be pertinent for you to steal their life for a time.
You see her take 2 giant steps back.
Because the fate will get off of their body while they are out.
Yikes.
It would also be helpful if everybody was aware of that. That way they wouldn't fight. I assume that there's some sort of resistance usually.
There is, unless someone is willing to give it. I've never had anyone willing to give me a life.
Are you able to do that? Zarfan asks, rather seriously.
For a period of 10 minutes, yes.
It should fall off automatically then, if that's the case. And we can simply drag them out. Myself and Isaac could get them. Oh, Clover as well.
She looks very troubled.
She said that quietly so you wouldn't have to listen to that, by the way. She's intentionally being sensitive to your dilemma.
I appreciate it.
Although
Perhaps-
you're going to get dragged in soon.
I say we move away from this area, and then we should probably discuss whether or not we wish to continue traveling with Orega, or send him off in a direction.
Can you tell which direction they seem to be all headed, or is it completely random and everywhere?
She'll turn and look. It's chaos. Some are shooting far ahead.
But they're all directions?
They are... They appear to be going all different directions,
So
right?
it looks like there's an epicenter where the fated land was, and then they just exploded in every direction from there.
She'll convey that. Some of them are going fast enough. They will get to other lands.
Give me a perception check real quick.
Okay.
DC 20.
Okay. Thank God it wasn't a 1.
That
Perception?
You're rooting
Yeah.
for ones.
Not anymore. 22.
You are actually going to see very distantly a very large, what must be like, I don't know, must be like the size of a Rega at least. Shard is going to like bounce off of something invisible and begin to travel in a different direction. By the distance, it could potentially be the borders of the Doom Ridge.
But there's something invisible that it hit. Not a mountain, not...
Correct.
That's strange, you'll hear her say.
What?
One of the shards bounced off of something I can't see. Like, something invisible.
Where?
She'll point in the direction.
He just points at the sky over there.
Yeah.
She just...
She can approximate distance, though, based on... she
Yeah,
give an
like,
approximate distance.
I don't know, 15 miles?
Okay.
Is that what I guessed of it being the edge of the Doom Ridge?
Yeah, about.
Is it in the same direction of the feeling I have.
No, it's the opposite direction.
Just checking. Perhaps it can't exit the, for lack of a better word, zone it was in. Keep an eye on it and see if any more bounce.
Did it appear after it bounced? Like, did it continue to drift?
It drifts in the direction it bounced in.
So back in.
Yeah, kind of back in, slowly back in your guys' direction.
Oh, this is going to get hectic very soon,
Mm-hmm.
if that's the case.
Let's get out of here.
To where exactly?
Well, she'll look around.
The way that you were going is the best way to go at the moment, since the way you came is filled with
Shards.
time shards.
And they do seem to be spreading at least, so then there'll be more room in between them.
Correct. From the epicenter, there is more room in between them, like an asteroid field.
If that's the case, I suggest we continue on the route we were. Orega, it might be wise if you joined us for the time being. That way we could help you to avoid them. They will spread out farther the farther they get from the epicenter, so it'll be easier to avoid or get through them quickly once they skirt out.
I agree with your plan, and I will come with you.
Alright. She checks Dom again. How's he looking?
The same.
Clover, would you mind if Dom rode on you for this time period?
Clover will allow Dom to climb up on him, and the donkey, with its unnaturally fast stride, begins to move away from the shards that have come.
Not to mention, unbelievably smooth gait.
Correct.
If Clover makes like a gust, does it blow the shards around?
Yuffie, make a constitution check.
Oh, goody.
Does it?
What?
Clover's gust, does it?
What'd you roll? Do you?
Her least favorite roll.
4 total.
Oh god.
If you roll a d6, please.
Oh god.
Oh no, you're about to age up.
Oh god!
What'd you roll?
6.
Yuffie falls over dead.
Oh, good.
Well, I mean, it falls off then.
Yuffie is suddenly, literally, like, instantly, an old lady. And she is on the ground, she gasps and breathes her last and is dead.
Yeah, June just goes,
Isaac runs over and crouches next to her corpse and like puts his hand to her throat and confirms that she's dead. And he says, "She was the only one who could see these things, right? June, you're not going to be happy about this, but I have the eye with me and it can spot these shards. If she's dead, that might be our only option as much as you hate it.
June looks like she wants to strangle you very briefly,
It's that or we're flying
and then she
blind."
reins herself in, and she goes,
Roll it. The potion. When you say that, Rafe is going to run towards you. He says, June, I'm going to need your help.
I'm here.
I could do lay on hands. That's all I got.
He says, we need to gentle repose the body now.
Okay.
That's
So-
the one that
That's level
prevents
1,
decay,
right?
Yes.
Oh.
Correct.
Well, I can just cast it. She did. She immediately just does so.
All right.
It just still lays there.
Hero is going to fall to his knees, and he sort of looks incredulous at Isaac for what he sees as a very cold, like, she's dead, but we really needed her to fix our problem kind of thing.
Wait, is he aging?
No.
No.
Oh god, I hope he's not.
No.
He's devastated.
So, like, a meteoric shard of it passed through Euphemia that aged her 600 years.
Oh, that was 6 times 100, not 10.
Bali
So
is going
she
to
became
fall
a
to the
skeleton?
ground and, like, screams. She goes, why isn't she changing back? Zarfen is going to pick your body up. We have to go now.
Yes.
Everyone behind me, Isaac says. And he's going to call Prongor over and get the eye out and start guiding everyone forward.
expecting.
As you all move away from the area, after about 40 seconds of moving away, Bali is like shredded. Jania has come over and keeps like kind of patting the side of her face, like, "Come on, Captain.
Is she moving?
Come on, pull out of it."
Oh,
She
no,
says.
no. Are they moving?
They're walking
Okay.
with Rafe.
Okay, good.
What is
How-
Roland doing?
Roland's gonna grab Ollie and try to restrain her, and just be like, "Yo, we're gonna figure it out. We're gonna figure it out. We're gonna figure it out. Just calm down, please. Calm down."
You gain 2 death saving throw failures.
Holy shit!
And you suddenly de-age. It is a rather violent, instantaneous process. And you suddenly feel, honestly, like you just went to the end of your capability to work out, and you're just like dead-ass tired. Zarafen is going to sort of like, "You're fine," he says. "Thank heavens."
She's gonna gasp.
Roland immediately lets go of Ollie.
Bali is going to slam into you. As
She just looks confused.
he says, "Euphemia, you okay?" Walk says. He says, "You die and get real old and then die."
What?
Yes.
Very way to put it.
Hero's going to
The shards
like,
apparently pass through you.
I think one snuck up on you from behind.
I was dead.
You were dead in an instant.
How? Then how am I here?
We preserved your body.
consider it the same as if you stole somebody's life. Just happened to you this time.
Shit.
Bali is like has her arms around your neck and is just bawling into your shoulder.
Polly is balling.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Totally mood breaker, but it needed to happen.
Dom is sort of like heavily breathing with the events. He's clearly like overwhelmed in his old age.
Captain, if you're back with us, I must ask, I'll keep an eye on our front and you look behind us.
Yeah, let's keep it moving.
Keep an eye on. How would you?
He
You see-
seems to have brought an item. However, it seems to be of use at the moment.
You'll see Prongor holding up some device in front of Isaac, and Isaac's peering through it as he's kind of guiding the group forward.
Oh, that.
I'd prefer not to spin around with this thing if I can help it.
Indeed.
All right. Thank you for joining us, Noble Heroes. It has been an eventful session, and I'm sure that we could use a breather. So, thank you for joining us very much. Please give us a like and a subscribe, and do try this at home. Thank you so much.